In 2023, rental prices in mainland China's top-tier cities experienced a significant drop, with rates plummeting by thousands of yuan, yet landlords find themselves unable to secure tenants. The situation has left property owners deeply distressed, signaling that the era of effortless rental income may have come to a close.
我作为一名房东，我的心态真的崩了。
As a landlord, I'm truly frustrated. Once again, the rental prices in Shanghai are about to drop. 2 years ago, I set a rental price, but now I can't even list it at that rate. The whole neighborhood is offering the same prices, and I genuinely feel that there are fewer out-of-town residents in Shanghai now. Back when I just graduated in 2019, if you saw a decent property on the real estate site lianjia.com, and you visited it in the morning, it might be gone by the afternoon. I experienced this speed firsthand, not once, but twice. When I first graduated and towards the end of the year, I changed to a different property at that time, and I felt it then too. But after these 3 years, including the pandemic years, if you look at this year, Shanghai's rental prices have been steadily declining. Don't tell me your property's value has increased. Try changing to a different property and finding a new tenant. Also, take a look at the comments below. How many people are mentioning their reduced rents? How many landlords are saying their rents have gone down? Don't keep saying that out-of-town residents can leave Shanghai if they want. When they are gone, who will take over your property? Who will pay the rent? Won't it be those tenants who are covering your mortgage?
This video was posted on November 14th, 2023, and the man in the video suggests that many people might face financial challenges as their properties become less valuable in the years to come, potentially leading to financial difficulties in their old age.
今年年中的时候我就知道上海这边的房租不太好收了。
In mid-2023, I already had a sense that it wasn't easy to find tenants for properties in Shanghai. My aunt owns several old, small apartments in the city center, located within a few districts, mainly within the area bounded by Line 4 of the Shanghai Metro. These apartments are what we call old and shabby. They are quite dated, have small floor areas, lack elevators, property management, have high population density, poor neighborhood environments, and no parking spaces. In previous years, the rental prices for these apartments were above 4,000 yuan per month, but in 2023, they have generally dropped by 500 to 600 yuan, which amounts to approximately a 15% decrease in rent. This reduction in rental rates mirrors the overall trend in Shanghai's property market during this period. Even for self-occupied apartments, landlords are offering the first month's rent for free.
On December 22nd, 2023, a user named Dragon Brother Rental Information Consultation posted a video on Douyin expressing his astonishment at the difficulty of renting apartments in Beijing's Chaoyang district.
北京的公寓也租不出去了。
The apartments in Beijing are no longer available for rent. This is in Chaoyang. I have never seen such a low price, but there are still no renters. The community has a beautiful environment, close to the commercial street, and has all kinds of leisure and entertainment. Can anyone tell me what's wrong with this?
In another video posted on December 17th, 2023, a landlord in Shenzhen, known as Ling Hucheng, shares his distress.
我在深圳有7栋楼出租。
I have 7 buildings for rent in Shenzhen. This year is the most difficult year for landlords. Now many units cannot be rented out at the end of the year, and landlords are very anxious. I have a business crisis. The more vacancies there are, the more I feel anxious. I rent every unit for a few hundred yuan, at least it's still money. If I can't rent it out, it's just a useless home with no value.
In another video, a TikTok user expressed their thoughts by saying that it used to be difficult to find a room in rural Shenzhen, but now there are units for rent everywhere, and they can't even find tenants. Where have all the people gone? According to a report published on January 8th by mainland China's Caixin website called 6 Consecutive Drops in Rent in First-Tier Cities, rental housing supply increases over 30%. In December 2023, the rental prices for houses in China's first-tier cities decreased by 2.45% compared to the same period last year. This marks the 6th consecutive month of year-on-year declines. Meanwhile, rental prices for houses in third and fourth-tier cities have shown an upward trend. This indicates that the population in first-tier major cities is continuously decreasing, and this trend is in line with the rising vacancy rates in office buildings in these large cities, collectively confirming the severe economic downturn in China. The report suggests that China is currently undergoing its annual population migration, and the changes in rental prices in cities of different tiers confirm the trend of people moving from first-tier cities to other cities. Furthermore, the report states that the rental market in first-tier cities started cooling down from 2022. On the one hand, the number of second-hand homes listed for sale in first-tier cities has been continuously increasing, while the overall real estate market remains sluggish. With significant price drops in housing sales and longer transaction periods, many homeowners have changed their strategies from selling to renting, waiting patiently for the market to recover. At the same time, the demand for labor in first-tier cities has been declining since 2022, leading to a return of a large number of migrants to third- and fourth-tier cities or their hometowns. This has resulted in a general decline in the permanent population of first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. As job uncertainty increases, income growth for the working class slows down, and changes such as the cancellation of rental subsidies and benefits by some companies have made it harder for renting families in first-tier cities to bear high rents. On January 10th, a TikTok influencer known as Financial Little Sister, with over 1.6 million followers, posted a video and said, "Has the era of easy rental income come to an end? In recent months, the nationwide rental prices have been experiencing a widespread decline, with the four major first-tier cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, being hit the hardest. Those landlords and landladies who were once envied by everyone now find themselves in a double dilemma where they can't sell their properties and can't rent them out." According to a report by mainland Chinese media First Financial on January 9th, a landlord named Jobless in Shanghai recently expressed his concerns. He owns a 50-square-meter studio apartment located approximately 2 kilometers from the core area of Lujiazui. In the past, he could rent it out for 6,500 yuan per month, generating an annual income of 78,000 yuan, $1,095. Due to the prime location of the apartment, it used to rent out quickly and seldom remained vacant. However, the situation has changed. In the fourth quarter of 2023, after the previous tenant moved out, he listed the property for rent but received no inquiries for a month. Subsequently, he reduced the monthly rent by 500 yuan, but still couldn't find a tenant. Currently, the listed rent has dropped to 5,500 yuan, $772 per month. Zhuo Wen mentioned that even if he manages to rent out the property this month, the reduced rent, along with the vacancy period, will result in an annual income reduction of more than 20,000 yuan. The report highlighted that Zhuo Wen's situation is not an isolated case. Starting from the second half of 2023, many landlords in Shanghai have been struggling to find tenants. A real estate agent serving the Jing'an area in Shanghai mentioned that he had an old 2-bedroom apartment with a previous monthly rent of 8,500 yuan. It used to be quickly rented out when listed, but by the end of 2023, the tenant moved out before the contract's completion. Since then, the property has been vacant for over a month, and despite lowering the rent multiple times, even down to 6,500 yuan a month, the landlord still hasn't found a suitable tenant. As for Wang Shiwei, a foreign enterprise white-collar worker who has been renting in Shanghai for many years, she mentioned that the trend of decreasing rental prices started in the second half of 2022. At that time, she moved once, and while the rent remained the same, the living conditions improved. In the latter half of 2023, Wang Shiwei again moved to a similar location and quality property, but the monthly rent was 500 yuan less. This means that she can save around 6,000 yuan per year. The article suggests that these individual experiences in the rental market may indeed reflect the real market conditions. From a data perspective, rental prices across China have experienced a general decline, with Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, the 4 leading cities, originally having strong rental markets, but now experiencing declines. According to a report released by the China Index Research Institute on January 8, 2023, the average residential rent in the nation's top 50 key cities cumulatively decreased by 0.3% for the year. After the Chinese New Year and graduation season, there was a seasonal increase in rent, but it weakened again in the fourth quarter. Additionally, data from a housing big data monitoring system collaboration between the Weifang Research Institute and the Beike Research Institute as of the end of the third quarter of 2023 showed the housing rental index for the top 40 cities was 100.06. Compared to the end of the second quarter, it decreased by 0.99%, and when compared to the end of the third quarter of 2022, the housing rental prices had fallen by 0.66%. Among these cities, rental prices in first-tier cities did not meet expectations and showed a general decline. In the third quarter, Shanghai's rental prices fell by 2.1% on a month-to-month basis and 2.9% year-on-year. Beijing and Guangzhou also experienced declines, with rental prices falling by 1.28% and 1.32% respectively, compared to the end of the third quarter of 2022. In contrast, Shenzhen's housing rental prices fell by 0.93% on a month-to-month basis. Furthermore, the monthly report from the Zhuge Data Research Center showed that by November 2023, rental prices in first-tier cities had experienced 3 consecutive declines month-on-month and 5 consecutive declines year-on-year. Among these, both Shanghai and Beijing had been consistently ranked among the top 10 cities with the largest declines in rental prices for 2 consecutive months. According to Lu Wenxi, a senior analyst at Zhongyuan Real Estate in Shanghai, the rental price decline in the fourth quarter of 2023 did indeed exceed that of previous years, as indicated by Zhongyuan Real Estate's rental price index. The reasons for the decline in rental prices in first-tier cities are multifaceted. Lu Wenxi explained that it's normal for the rental price index to decline every year in the fourth quarter because it's the off-season for renting. However, in 2023, it did decline more than usual. Lu Wenxi believes that the fundamental reason is the insufficient demand for rental housing caused by population movement. Additionally, rental prices are somewhat related to property prices, so as property prices decline, rental prices naturally follow suit. Huang Tao, the general manager of Zhongyuan Real Estate in Guangzhou, stated to the media that the overall economic downturn in China is simultaneously impacting both the demand and supply sides of the rental market. On one hand, the difficulty in finding jobs and the increased layoffs in 2023 have led to a decrease in rental housing demand and budgets in major cities. On the other hand, the continuously declining property prices have caused some property owners to postpone their selling plans and turn to the rental market, resulting in a continuous increase in housing supply. This one side rising and the other side falling dynamic has led to a decrease in rental prices. With China's economy continuing to decline, various industries are facing a sluggish situation. Despite the Chinese government's efforts to revive the economy through various measures and policies, there have been minimal results. Massive layoffs in various industries have led to a surge in unemployment. The era when job opportunities were readily available in first-tier cities has long gone. The influencer in the video mentioned that many internet giants have their headquarters in Shanghai, such as Bilibili, Alipay, Meituan, and more. When these major companies were actively hiring, they often provided housing subsidies. If you lived within a certain distance from the company's location, you could receive a subsidy. This heated up the nearby rental market. However, in the past 2 years, especially with the wave of layoffs, the situation has changed significantly.
今年呢，其实许多互联网大厂裁员都比较多。
In 2023, many internet giants actually had quite a few layoffs. I personally know 3 or 4 programmers who were laid off. Many of my friends who work as live streamers for brand names like Anta, Fila, and Adidas were also laid off this year. In terms of the resident population perspective, by the end of 2022, there was a simultaneous decrease in the resident population in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. Beijing had a resident population of 21.8 million. Shanghai had 24.7 million, Guangzhou had 18.7 million, and Shenzhen had approximately 17.6 million residents. These numbers represent a decrease of 43,000, 135,000, 76,000, and nearly 20,000 residents respectively, compared to the previous year, marking the first population decline.
This influencer also believes that the main issue in 2023 is an oversupply of the overall rental housing market.
Some people choose to move to cheaper places, some choose to share rental spaces with others, and some decide to return to their hometowns. All of these factors have reduced the demand in the rental market. Consequently, rental listings are staying on the market for longer, and there's more room for negotiation with landlords. Many landlords are even voluntarily lowering their prices. The situation now is that even in areas like Lujiazui, where you can bike to the Oriental Pearl Tower in 10 minutes, it's not easy to find tenants. Meanwhile, many young people are truly exploring a new lifestyle, a city version of the TV show Survivor.
According to this influencer, many people choose to camp on grasslands or sleep in their cars because they can't afford the high rents in first-tier cities or want to save money. For example, there's a salesperson named Xiao Tang from Jiangsu who currently works in car sales in Shanghai. His monthly income is around 12,000 yuan, but rent in Shanghai is quite expensive. A regular single room costs at least 3,500 yuan, and if you want a more comfortable place, it's at least 6,000 yuan. Xiao Tang felt that such rent prices weren't worth it, so he came up with a money-saving solution: living in his car. He's been living in his car for 3 months now, and he feels it's not bad. Though it's a bit inconvenient, he saves 6,000 yuan on rent every month, which he can use to pay off his car loan or save. He parks his car in the company's underground parking lot, and after work, he drives to a nearby park, finds a quiet spot, covers the car windows, and sleeps inside. Xiao Tang says his car is spacious. He can lay down on the back seats, and combined with the trunk space, it's enough for him to stretch out. He has also prepared some daily necessities in the car, making it like a small mobile room. The video blogger remarks, it's not easy for the laborers who come to big cities. To settle down in Shanghai, they all have to struggle. With falling rental prices, not only individual landlords, but also some agency second landlords are facing tough times. According to First Financial, an insider from a large housing rental service company revealed that the company conducted a significant round of layoffs at the end of 2023. The company's business model is to collect properties from individual landlords, renovate or refurbish them, and then list them on an online platform for rent. By the second half of 2023, the overall vacancy rate had reached its highest level in nearly 3 to 4 years. In a video posted in November 2023, a Douyin user named Straight Talk Finance expressed that houses couldn't be rented out and landlords were crying in the toilet. He said,
冷静下来一算账
When you calm down and do the math, empty houses not only have no income but also require property fees and heating fees. Some even have to pay off mortgages, turning assets into liabilities in an instant.
Actually, apart from first-tier cities, some second- and third-tier cities are facing similar situations. At the end of 2023, a netizen posted a video on Douyin stating that houses couldn't be sold or rented out. According to her, in 2019, she bought a house in Shijiazhuang, the provincial capital, for her child's education. The total price was 1.5 million yuan, with a down payment of over 300,000 yuan. The monthly loan payment was over 8,000 yuan. She recently found out through an agent that her 1.5 million yuan house is now worth 1.2 million yuan, and she has already repaid 300,000 yuan of the loan over 3 years. There's still a remaining principal of over 1 million yuan, and if she wants to sell it, she'll likely lose at least 500,000 yuan. But the critical issue is that it's not easy to sell. Since she can't sell it, she decided to rent it out for 2,500 yuan per month. The house has been on the market for 2 months with no takers. If left vacant, she still needs to pay over 3,000 yuan in property fees annually. The house has become a hot potato for her. She can't sell it, she can't rent it, and she still has to make the monthly loan payments. On January 10th of this year, a Chinese netizen made a video highlighting 6 abnormal phenomena in China that make it difficult for ordinary people to survive.
First, many people are ignoring Chinese experts, and inspirational articles about the economy are falling on deaf ears. People are becoming pessimistic. Second, despite continuous reductions in mortgage interest rates and lower down payments, it's becoming increasingly difficult to sell houses. Third, there are more and more women delivering food through the streets and alleys, but there are fewer and fewer urban office workers following the 9-to-5 routine. Fourth, after the relaxation of the one-child policy, the birth rate is actually declining. Fifth, at 35 you're considered too old to hire, and at 55 you're considered too young to retire. Sixth, those who left rural areas for the city find themselves in an awkward situation. They can't fully integrate into the city, but also can't return to their hometowns. After more than a decade of hard work in the city, they still have nothing. They can't afford to buy houses or have children. Why? Without a doubt, it's because our housing prices have grown far faster than our incomes.
Here's a direct translation of what he said. These observations reflect the real-life conditions faced by ordinary people in China. With a continuous economic downturn, fierce job competition, strict government control, unemployment, and layoffs, many young people are becoming increasingly disillusioned. More and more of them are adopting a lying flat lifestyle, expressing their protest against the chaotic society under the Chinese Communist Party's rule. This lifestyle involves having no desires, not buying houses, not buying cars, not dating, not getting married, not having children, and maintaining a minimal standard of living. They are using this approach to protest against the current state of affairs.